Well, I do hope you are able to hear me at this point. It is great to be with you. My apologies for the audio difficulties that were encountered here on this particular live chat. It is great to see you, Omar. Yours truly here, Omar, on Orns post match live on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed for joining me here after Millwall 2, Watford 3. What a sensational result that was for the Golden Boys to go to the Den today to get that result in the manner in which they did. The character was there for Watford after throwing away a 2-0 lead and being able to ride out the storm against a determined and dogged Millwall side in that second half, I thought was a very important thing. I think, a very tough performance for Watford. They were uneven in this one. They had a strong first half, I thought, for the most part, after being under the cosh for the first 10 minutes of the game. But they definitely warmed up to the task in this game after that, looking very good in that first half after those first 10 minutes, beginning to take the tempo and the structure of the game away from Millwall and bring their brand of football in, probing, good, measured, deliberate passing, good ball movement, and above all, I think some real care with the ball and aggressiveness with the ball that Watford had under Tom Cleverley in that first half, frustrating those home fans at the Den. I thought that that was a certain mark of maturity from this Watford group, who I thought today played some good football. Georgie was the standout. I thought he was electric in this game. A lot of Watford fans have given him their verdict for man of the match. But for me, it's Musa Sissoko, someone who's been away from Watford for 3 seasons. We don't get any younger in this game or in this life. And for him to come back in Watford and not miss a beat, move the ball so well, be brilliant all day long, lose the ball just once in a very critical position that allowed Millwall to equalize. I thought that this was a very good performance from Musa Sissoko today. My pick for man of the match. Lots of people have said Georgie. And then, of course, you can also look at people like Matty Pollock. You can look at people like Tom Deli Bashiru, I thought was really good today. A masterful performance from him. Didn't lose the ball. I think maybe one time he lost the ball. And that, was part of the fact that Millwall came from behind to get a 2-2. And I thought the game would end at 2-2. That was my prediction before this game started, that it would be a 2-2 affair. But that was not to be, thankfully, because Rajovic popped up at the right time to get that all-important win, that goal, all-important goal in the 90th minute. In a game that went on for 100 minutes, it was one of those kinds of games that had just about everything, and they really should have had a penalty as well in the game. But thankfully, Watford really rode their luck in this game. In the first half, Ryan Andrews clipped one of the Millwall players, and the referee's literally 3 yards away. How the referee does not signal for a penalty, I'll never know. And I think that was the kind of game Watford had today. They rode their luck. Millwall hit the post in the first half, hit the post in the second half, and hit the crossbar in the second half. They really did, Millwall, punish Watford's goal, but did not score more than the 2 goals that they could and should have scored. There were some really good moments for Watford, and their defense had to be alert. Great clearances off the line from the likes of a Sierralta, who cleared the ball off the line when the ball hit the post in the first half. Watford got away with it there in that first half, and certainly did in the second half. How Watford did not concede more than 2 goals in this game is beyond me. A straight header for Millwall, and I don't know how he hit the post with it, but he did. I just couldn't believe the ball didn't go in. But listen, we got a bit lucky today, didn't we, with our particular way of playing. I do hope you can hear me. We had some audio problems earlier, but thankfully I hope that those have been resolved now, where you can at least hear what I am saying. But I do want to thank you for being here on this edition of Orns post-match on YouTube, live here from San Francisco, California. Yours truly, Omar Moore here, and all the Watford fans in the building. Thank you very much, TaylorMade Army TV. Loved it, mate, says TaylorMade Army TV. Great to see you here, man. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. And I, of course, really appreciate your support and your goodness, good wishes as well. Very kind, and always appreciative of your support and your comments. Very kind indeed. And you keep up the good work as well. All the things you do as well. Greatly appreciated. I want to know if you were at the Den today. If you were, my goodness, TaylorMade, it was one of them kind of games, wasn't it? What a ding dong. I predicted 2-2. A lot of fans that I spoke to in the Instagram pre-match had been saying Watford were going to lose the game because our history at the Den, as you know, is not very good. We had not won at the Den in 9 years until today. The last time we won at the Den before today was in April of 2015. Matej Vidra was amongst the goal scorers there, and it was one of them kind of games. At that point, it was a 2-0 win then and a 3-2 win today, and we were flying because it was 2-0 up for Watford. It seemed a bit too good to be true given the luck that we rode, but we did have some players that showed real character today. I thought that Georgie was outstanding, but I think Musa Sissoko is the man of the match despite the mistake he made. A man who had been away from Vicarage Road for 3 seasons, coming back in like he had never left. He was very good on the ball, very good, purposeful box to box. Really liked his control of the ball. TDB outstanding, same thing. One of the things that he does so well in close quarters of play is keep holding the ball. He's great with the ball to the ground. He really does not lose that ball very often. I think he lost it just once today, TDB, but he was magnificent. I thought the ball stuck to him just so superbly. I thought that the way he marshaled the play in that defensive holding role was very good. Against a rugged Millwall side, you need that kind of discipline and tenacity. And I thought both Musa Sissoko and TDB showed that to you today. The warrior instinct was there for Matty Pollock, who was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely fantastic there today. Look, Matty Pollock, who wasn't getting regular playing time last season, came in here today and was the proper warrior, wasn't he? Got his head bandaged up at least twice, had 2 collisions, bleeding all over the place, but he continued to play very, very well indeed. Pollock, I think, ended up going off in this game, perhaps late on. But Watford, I thought, did very well considering all the things we know about the Den. Very difficult place to play, very troublesome place to play. The fans are on top of you. But Watford helped out mightily their own cause today by frustrating that fan base for Millwall. And the players did very well. Ido Kayembe, I thought, was very good in the first half of this game in particular. Had a fantastic goal that got us on our way and from the corner kick. Fantastic stuff from him. Great goal, already a goal of the season candidate. And of course, the goal from Georgie from a free kick. Well, we don't score from direct free kicks very often, do we? But that was one of the worldies. Georgie did a fine job there. Georgie played very, very well. I predicted before this game in the voting that he would be the Graham Taylor player of the season this season. And so far, he has not made me out to be wrong after one game. But still, it is just one game. And we got very excited last season after Watford blew the doors off against QPR with 4 goals. But we saw what happened last season after that. So what will this season bring? A lot of us have been very pessimistic about Watford, given the fact that the summer transfer market has not been very active for us. I think we've been more active with our coaching staff than we have been with the playing staff, if we're being really honest. But there is still about 3 more weeks to go in the transfer window market. Tom cleverly has talked about getting another number 9 in here. I think we need to get one, even though Rajovic scored today, and it was a really good goal from him. He finally used his size and his height to get that ball across the line with a good header against Millwall. He scores goals against Millwall. He does. He scored against Millwall last season at the Vic to rescue a 2-2 draw. This time he scores when it was 2-2 to give us all 3 points. So Rajovic played his role today. But Tom cleverly has talked about getting a number 9 in here, maybe a centre back as well. But we need players. I don't think we're going to cut it with what we've got here this season. I thought Tom Ince was a disaster. Let's be fair about that. He signed a 2-year contract, and then he gave away one of the silliest fouls that a person who knows better would ever or should ever give up. You cannot foul in that situation right outside the penalty box. Thank goodness that Millwall hit our wall in that free kick situation, because I would have been ready to absolutely swear and curse up a blue streak if that ball had gone into the back of the net to make it 3-3, because Tom Ince had no business making a foul there. That was a really poor mistake from a veteran footballer. He's been around the championship forever, Tom Ince, and for him to give up a foul there is unforgivable. But we did hold on to the win, so I will forgive him because we did get all 3 points in the end. But that cannot happen again next week or any other week from any Watford player, especially one who knows better. Tom Ince, I thought, was a surprise 2-year contract for off the back of what we saw last season. But listen, I think what you're seeing with Tom Cleverley is a very loyal manager. This is a manager who is loyal to his players. That's one thing that the ownership could learn from and keep with Mr. Cleverley this season, because I predict that the owners will not get rid of Tom Cleverley this season. I think Tom Cleverley will last an entire season here for Watford. Peter Watts has said, hello, Omar. I missed your post-match views. Glad they are back. Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. They are back indeed. And you are back. And it's great to see you here on Orns Post-Match live on YouTube. There will be a post-match recording as well. That's coming up a little bit later on, but it will be here on Orns WFC on YouTube. So spread the good word, won't you, about the Orns WFC YouTube channel. Please subscribe today. Of course, you can find my views on Watford on X as well at Orns WFC, and of course on Instagram at Orns WFC, where I've just completed a Orns post-match extra on Instagram. You might want to take a look at that as well. So Peter, thank you very much indeed for your kind words. I'm sure you're very happy today with this Watford result. It was a game that did not come easy to Watford, but Watford did play well at the Den, pardon me, a place where they don't play well at all. We hadn't scored a goal at the Den for years, let alone win. And don't forget, we lost at the Den last season to a 1-0. That was earlier in this calendar year. Lost 1-0 against Millwall in that game at the Den just last season. The season before that, I think it finished. I think we lost that game 3-0 or something like that, 3 or 4-0, 3-0. We lost at home to Millwall a couple of seasons ago as well, 2-0 on Boxing Day from a couple of seasons ago. We got a 2-2 draw late against Millwall at the Vic last season. We don't score many goals against Millwall, particularly at home, away from home. We do not score goals at the Den. We just don't, and so. The last time before this that we won at the Den was back in 2015. And so when that Kayembe goal came in from the corner, what a brilliant goal that was. You start to think, well, maybe our luck changes for the better. And our luck definitely rode us today. But Watford also showed you character, because a lot of Watford teams of the past, the last few seasons at least, would have folded after Millwall's comeback. Remember last season, we had a 2-0 away lead at West Bromwich Albion. Remember that one? And we could not get over the line. I think that might have been on Easter Monday. We had a 2-0 lead there at the Hawthorns and could not finish off West Brom, and it ended up being a 2-2 draw. It looked very much the same way today, didn't it? I predicted it would be 2-2, by the way. I predicted that before the game, and my prediction was looking odds on until Rajovic finally scored and finally used his size and his attributes to get the goal, to head the ball past a really poor goalkeeper today. Let's be fair. I'm not taking anything away from us, but that Millwall goalkeeper was at 6s and 7s today. He did not look like he had a clue. Didn't look very strong at all. Daniel Batman, I thought, was very good. He was good, I would say that. He knew when to come off his line. He had good discipline today. I thought his distribution was better than it has been. His kicking ability was stronger than it has been. I'm sure he's been working on that during the offseason, and I am very pleased to see that Daniel Backman, who is the #1 goalkeeper again, showed you why, at least on this occasion that he was. He made a couple of very important saves in this game, which I think a lot of people are going to overlook, because he made some critical saves late in the game. The ball hit the crossbar as well. The ball hit the post a couple of times in the game as well. It was a fantastic performance, I think, overall, when you consider the Den. Reading out your comments here on YouTube, Matt has said to us the following: hey, great win for Watford. Was on the edge of my seat near the end of the game, though, but cleverly made the subs at the right time in my eyes. What a great start for him as our permanent manager. Thank you very much indeed, Matt, for your comment. I think that is absolutely right. Cleverly made the subs exactly at the right time. I know that there were some people saying that he should have made the subs a little bit earlier than what he did, but I don't have a real problem with that. I think the issue with the goal that made it 2-2 was the fact that Matty Pollock was off the pitch. They were down to 10 men. It was fits and starts. Then he was back on the pitch. Then the formation wasn't right. It was that 5 minutes of frenzy there where things didn't quite go right for Watford with their defending, and I think that cost them there. But it was not because Tom Cleverley didn't put them players on. A few minutes after that, he did put those players on, and I thought that that was really good. Ken Sema made a really good mark in this game, and I thought that he helped stabilize things after the frenzy. I thought he was very good, Ken Sema. A lot of people will not be talking about him. I thought his runs down that left channel, or down the right channel, I guess, his running down the left gave Watford a lot stronger balance after what we saw of Ngakia, because he's not really supposed to be playing on that side of the pitch. He played left back, actually, didn't he, Ngakia, which is not his position. He's right back, isn't he? But he played left back today. The bottom line, though, is that the Cleverley subs were very good today. Matt, you're absolutely right about that. Cleverley came off very well today. No complaints from me. I know some, again, have criticized him for the subs, thought they were a bit late, but I thought this was exactly right. The lads had a rhythm out there. You can't disrupt that, even at 2-2. I don't care what anybody tells me. You've got to be careful about how you're subbing in these games. Millwall are a very dangerous side. Watford began to get some of the possession back, and then with those subs, he absolutely helped stabilize things. And it really did help, even though Watford played deeper and deeper in this match. One of the problems for Watford is they played way too deep in this game. But that's because, A, they were tired. Maybe you want to make a case they could have made a sub. But the bottom line is they played way too deep, and that cost them in this game. Almost cost them, because they did get that late goal. Shows you great character from a Watford side. They could have hung their heads and said, well, we'll come back. We'll take a point out of this from the Den. We don't normally get anything from here anyway. We'll just take a point and head back to the Vic. But they didn't do that, Watford. Watford actually stood up today. Really proud of the lads today. They stood up and they were counted. Matty Pollock, an absolute warrior. I think the fact that he was bandaged up, it kind of really personified how Watford dealt with this rugged Millwall team today. Went into the Lions' den, literally, and came out bloodied and battered, but ended up with 3 points. That is a confidence builder. I thought that Musa Sissoko, again, I'll repeat this again to the cows come home, he is the man of the match for me. I thought he was superb. A lot of people have said Georgie, but I think Musa Sissoko, again, having been away from the Vic for 3 seasons, come back like he never left. That is a performer in prime time. And that's a 12:30 kickoff as well. These 12:30 kickoffs are a very up and down thing for Watford, and they handled it very well today, especially away from home. That's a tricky spot. You have your players injured. You don't have a real strong squad. You have a squad that we know Espria is going to be gone. Let's be honest. Espria ain't going to be here after August the 30th. Let's be absolutely right about that. And look, players who haven't yet played, Hood's injured. He won't be back till September. We can go down the list of Watford players who are or are not in the lineup. I would love to have seen Vata today. Vata was on the bench, did not get a look in. Maybe he'll see him on Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup at home against MK Dons. And now the last time we played MK Dons in the Carabao Cup at home, you know what happened under Rob Edwards. Let's pretend that that did not happen. And let's hope that Tuesday is a lot better for us at the Vic in terms of that. Reading out your comments, Peter Watt says, does Porteous situational awareness and decision-making worry you at all? He's a good player and is strong, but I thought Pollock really stood out in that back three where you need a striker and Hood back. Yes, Peter, I agree 100% with you. I am worried about Ryan Porteous. He is very strong and very dogged, but I don't like some of the decisions he makes. He can be very rash at times. He is all gung-ho, which is good, but you've got to be sensible in these situations. Somebody on Instagram, one of the Watford fans there, asked me, with everybody healthy, who is your best back three? And I said Pollock, Hood, and Sierralta. I did not say Ryan Porteous. So I'm going to say that to you now, Peter. I think our best back three with everybody healthy is Wesley Hood, is Sierralta, Francisco Sierralta, and is Matty Pollock. You are quite right. I very much agree with you. Matty Pollock was brilliant today. His warrior attitude personified this win. I know that, look, a lot of people said Georgie for man of the match. I stick with Musa Sissoko because I thought he was outstanding despite the one mistake. You're going to make a mistake in these games. I don't care who you are. Georgie was flawless, though. I mean, he may have made one mistake, I think. I mean, he was brilliant. Every time he ran forward, had a purpose about him, scored a worldy free kick. But I definitely think, Peter, as you quite rightly said, Pollock really stood out in that back three. He cannot leave that game. He cannot leave that back three. He probably will not play on Tuesday night. But next weekend against Stoke, Matty Pollock's got to feature in that back three. You've got to let the man grow now. Pollock is a man who's been knocking on the door. He didn't get all season's playing time last season. He was on and off last season. When he came into the games, he made a real difference for us. Real good stature about Matty Pollock. He wants to play at the Vic. He wants to play for Watford. He's made no secret of that. He wants to be here. And I think Tom Cleverley, one thing you can say about him, he's a very loyal manager, because anyone that wants to sign Tom Ince for 2 years has got to be loyal. Some people might call that crazy, because I thought that Tom Ince today really made it very nervous for us. Come on the pitch, and that part did not work, did it? Fouling like that, a veteran player like Tom Ince got to be doing better than that. But thankfully, we didn't pay for it. We didn't get punished. But I'm sure that Tom Ince won't do that again. But the bottom line is he had a 2-year contract, and I'm sure a lot of Watford fans weren't necessarily happy about that with Tom Ince. But there you go, Peter. That's my answer to your question. My 3 players in that back three has to be Wesley Hurt, and it has to be Francisco Sierralta, and it has to be Matty Pollock. Those are your 3. That's my pick for the back 3 for Watford. The Watford way says that was a thrilling second half to watch. Goodness me. Yes, it was. I found this it was thrilling. It was excruciating Watford way. It was exciting. It was nail-biting. Every time Millwall took a shot at that goal, your heart was in your mouth. And look, Millwall hit the post or the crossbar 3 different times in the game. In the first half, they hit the post. In the second half, of an open goal header, I don't know how they hit the post there. And of course, they hit the crossbar late. Daniel Bachmann made a really good save, it must be said. Bachmann's distribution much better today. I thought his kicking ability was better today. And as I said earlier, he had better awareness of when to come off his line and when to stay home. And I thought that was a big difference for us. We looked mature today in those positions. I thought that TDB was brilliant in this game. TDB, of course, who got really bigged up earlier in the week by Troy Deeney, played like he was absolutely on fire. Georgie, brilliant. TDB, brilliant. Musa Sissoko, superb. I also thought that the running today from Matty Pollock was good. I thought the balance was good in the defending, even though there were some nervy moments, but everybody defended as a team. You got to say that there was really good character from the lads today to come from the situation that they were in. As I said before, they could have hung their heads and said, we'll take a point and go back to the Vic. But they didn't. They found a way forward. You saw the determination of TDB, who had made a mistake in the build-up to that Millwall second goal, and Musa Sissoko's pass as well was a critical mistake. But you saw how these players didn't let that get to them. These players continued to play football to the very last in a game that was 100 minutes long. 100 minutes. We've seen this many times, fellow Watford supporters, where Watford have had these games where you had 10, 15 minutes of extra time, especially away from home. And it usually doesn't turn out well for us. Remember the game against Southampton last season when we lost that game at the death? It was a game that the extra time was added on thick. It was at least 10 minutes there too, if I remember correctly. And it was clearly a handball goal. I remember that from last season. And we lost the game 3-2, where we never should have lost that game. And it looked like we were going to see some of that today in a game that was 10 extra minutes long after the collision of heads. But thankfully, Watford got out of Dodge with the win. Listen, we never get out of the Den with anything. So, the first time in 9 years that Watford get a win at the Den, you have to say thank you very much for this great Watford performance to all these Watford players. I thought that the goalkeeper, as I said, did well. I have to say good job from him. I have to say good job from the defenders, even though there were some nervy moments. I thought Watford redressed the balance in midfield. The midfield, Watford, I think, dominated at times in the first half. It was a tough second half, but it was brilliant to watch. It was a pulsating match. If you were at the Den watching this, you would have probably been absolutely thrilled as a Watford supporter. But there were Watford fans who actually left the Den after it was 2-2. And boy, oh boy, what a mistake that would have been as Rajovic climbed for that header. He was alert to where the ball was going to go. And that's a poacher's goal. You know, normally I've criticized Rajovic for his refusal to use his size and his attributes and his height. But today he did exactly the opposite. He used his size, he used his attributes, he used his height and got that ball past the goalkeeper to give Watford the 3 deserved points. Listen, this was a well-deserved Watford win, even though Watford scored their goals against the run of play, especially the second goal that Watford scored through Georgie off the free kick. And that was a goal that was scored in the second half. Early on, around 15 minutes in, Millwall had dominated the opening parts of that second half. So when Georgie scored from the free kick, perhaps it was a sign of good things to come for Watford. That put us doubled our lead, very much against the run of play in that particular situation. And so at that point, Watford were in the ascendancy, 2 goals to the good. And you probably thought that Watford would have run out pretty comfortable winners. But Millwall began to turn the screw. They made their subs. Those subs made a difference for Millwall today. And as a result, they came back into the game. Sloppiness from Watford to give those 2 goals up. But Millwall kept searching and kept battering and kept throwing the long ball. You know how Millwall does it. Makes it uncomfortable for you. And Watford, look, the difference between this Watford and Watford of a couple of seasons ago or even early last season is that Watford did not hang their heads where they would have done at various points during Val Ishmael's time here and previous to Val Ishmael. And Watford were able, under Tom Cleverley, to get these 3 points. And I'm sure the skipper, then the gaffer, will be very pleased with this. And the skipper, Musa Sissoko, definitely putting his imprint on this game. Just imagine when Wes Hook comes back. You'll have 2 real good veterans in their positions there. Sissoko was absolutely brilliant today. I was so pleased with him. I was not sure what to expect from someone who had not played for Watford for 3 seasons. But my goodness me, he was superb today. I do want to thank you all for your comments today here on YouTube. Thank you very much for sticking with me. My apologies for the audio problems in the first go round. But I do want to thank you today for your time here on YouTube and this channel post-match, the Orns post-match, Orns WFC here live on YouTube, the post-match. And I do thank you for your time and for your comments today. A very happy recap here. The final score from the Den, Millwall 2, Watford 3. 3 points in the bag at the first time of asking as the Tom Cleverley Express gets off to a winning start for season 24-25. Of course, Watford will do it all over again next weekend in the Championship. They will take on Stoke City at the Vic in their first home match in the league. But before that, there's a small matter of a Carabao Cup game against none other than MK Dons. Of course, we had a nightmare against it a couple of years ago, didn't we, at the Vic? But hopefully this time at the Vic, this coming Tuesday, we'll be able to put that right. That is it from here in San Francisco, California. Great to see you all again. And thank you very much indeed for all the kind words and your comments. The final score once again, Millwall 2, Watford 3. Yours truly, Omar Moore, saying thank you very much indeed for watching. And until next time, you